time he's been right here. And we let that devil, concept of a devil, take us down a road we didn't need to go down. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Maybe we did need to go down there. Some of us just won't come off it. We camped out in Devilville. For some people, I don't know what they're gonna do when they find out the devil ain't all they spoke him up to be. What we gonna do? Come up with another fictitious character. Oh, this is Satan's brother. And this is cousin. And what I have found, and I ain't gonna be mean when I say this, is that the reason we hold to those things, first of all, is teaching. That's what we've been taught. And it ain't easy to get away from it. I'll be the first one to admit, when God started taking me down a different path, leaving the old path was very hard. And it becomes habit to just say it. I hear people preach a wonderful sermon and get to the end of the sermon before you go home and say, you know that devil gonna be after you. What you have to say that for? What kind of glory we gonna get out of it? What kind of encouragement we gonna get? I don't need to know that. All I need to know is God. See, brothers and sisters, it's the knowledge of good and evil that messes up. It ain't the evil. It's the knowledge of it. The tree was the knowledge of it. Y'all getting what I'm saying? It wasn't the evil, it was the knowledge of it. And that knowledge messed them up. Because then they cooked up a story against God. I started studying that thing. Why did God put Adam and Eve out of the garden, kick them out, put a flaming sword at the edge of the garden, then they have children, and here God is out there talking to their children. Well, God, if you're going to talk to us, you could have left us in the garden. What you following around behind us for? That whole thing was an allegory. Being kicked out of the garden. They weren't kicked out of the garden physically. They were kicked out of the garden spiritually. But God never left them alone. He kept talking to them. Kept dealing with them. Down through Noah, Abraham, God was dealing with us the whole time. But in our heads, God separated us from himself. Because and I'm going to use this term, and I hope I'm using it right, that's our anthropological viewpoint, that we reduce things down to the way we can understand them on man's terms. When you try to reduce God down to man, then you start talking about hearing footsteps in the garden. Then you start talking about God's hand, God's eyes, God's ears. Because we're bringing it into an area where we can understand it. But God's ears will be big as the universe. We try to bring it into an area where we can understand. And there's nothing wrong with that until you start limiting God to that. When we start limiting God, then it makes us vibrate on a lower level because we don't see what the potential in the area that we can expand to. I'm going to quit right there because I can go on. We got some nuggets in there. I'm hoping that y'all picked it up. If you didn't come to me after service, we'll talk about it. I love this. I love the subject. I love God. It ain't about me. Because I'm telling you, this morning, that bed was not feeling just good. It was, as God said, it was very good. And I wanted to stay in it. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Lord have mercy. Jesus, I want to stay. He knows it too. I told him, I said, Lord, I want to stay in this bed so bad today. I want to do. So we all human. Don't think I woke up floating and the Lord had a Bible in my face. No, Lord, I ain't going to see no Bible when I turned it. All I want to see was the lights out. And praying to God when I looked at the clock, it was wrong. 2 hours fast or something. But when I realized what God called me to do, and when you realize what God calls you to do, you go above what you feel like. Because your vibration starts to match your calling. Some people do it voluntary, some involuntary, you know. The alarm go off, you got to go to work. We still may not be in harmony with that job, but we going because we in harmony with the paycheck. There's something there I like. And we go and it's our purpose. We go to work for a purpose. But God calls us into this earth.